It's interesting to reflect on I guess what it means to me personally. There's that sense of reward, and for me, the ability for us to do it together. We've actually been in this, and you know, sometimes it's boiled over, and sometimes we've got frustrated or whatever. But it's been, you know, I think it's brought us so close together.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's almost like another child for us. So we've got our family, yeah. But we've got that bigger family in Nepal. A lot of people ask us, why did we do something like this in Nepal? What made us establish a children's house in Nepal? And we tend to say, because we could, you know, we were young, we were capable, we were strong. The world was open for us. And then obviously we've grown up in homes that had soft values. You know, my mum was a nurse, dad was a social worker. Your parents worked with Mother Teresa in Kolkata in the 70s. So I think it's always been in us. And obviously from my very personal point of view, once my mum died and my dad fell sick, I grew up in a children's home. And I got a new opportunity to have a better life.
One of the really strong memories I have is when you first came to Melbourne, and I remember you telling me that you had a dream to establish a children's home in India.
Yes.
Do you remember that? And that was, and I guess, well, we're not quite in India, but it's not often dreams come to fruition. So we spent time in India, and then we went to Nepal, and there's a similar level of need there, or probably a greater level of need in Nepal, because there was the civil war that was going on at the time, so there was a lot of displaced children. The poverty was striking. We were sitting in a cafe. Do you remember when we were sitting in the cafe in Kathmandu, and literally next to the window there was these kids sniffing glue outside, wasn't there?
Yes.
And so I think that was, at that point in time, we sort of thought, oh, maybe Nepal's a place where you know, our work would be more beneficial than perhaps India.
A lot of times, you know, we'd go trekking and we'd go through villages and actual Nepali villages, and you'd see the happy places where the children were playing, they were going to school. They didn't have much, but they had enough to get on, and they were sent to school. And then you saw the ones that were going to the fields instead of going to school. You'd see them carrying heavy logs, basically.
Yeah, smashing bricks and...
Yes.
Yeah.
For the ones that had a good home, but they'd be ending up working in a field for the day rather than going to school, we felt like there's a need for maybe a scholarship program to help these kids to get an education. They could stay at home, but they could go and have education. And then there were the ones who just didn't have anyone to care for them. So that's why the idea of Onni came about. We felt the need for a safe housing, but also the ones who had a good home, we wanted to provide them with education. In Nepal, the boy always comes first. So you educate the boy so that then the boy will take care of the rest of the family.
Yeah, and the girls miss out.
That's it. So we felt like we especially want to support girls to go to school, because when you educate a girl, you'll know that she will one day educate her children and she will have less children.
So once we'd worked out that that's what we were going to do, first of all we needed to get finance, we needed to actually fund this thing, and then I guess that the real hard work was on the ground over there. We were flooded with applications of you know, kids that needed a home, and some of those were desperate and some of them were not so desperate, and then the hard thing was actually working through that, you know, going out to the remote villages to actually see the reality, because you know, we wanted to identify, and we had our local partners with us to identify, you know, who is in the most need of the home, because that's who we wanted to help.
Yes. So all along when we're building beds and painting walls, we're on motorbikes, going into these villages, meeting different families, different kids.
Speaking of the motorbike, remember when we fell off the edge? We're actually going out to one of these villages. Tully was on the back, and we actually fell off in a Nepali mountain, so it's like that.
Yes.
We fell off the edge of the road. Luckily there was a ledge about a metre down.
Yeah.
But,
and you should have seen the face of the social worker who was driving in front of us. All of a sudden looking back, where are they? Oh, they're down the road.
He was like a ghost. He was like, oh, these foreigners, these white dudes have just fallen off the mountain. Anyway, we live to tell the tale.
Yeah.
The next really big chunk of work was actually when the project started, when the kids were in the home. And obviously...
Remember the first night? So just when we've cut the ribbon and the night sets and we're all sitting there, and obviously there's 11 kids at that time who are all getting to know each other, getting to know us, getting to know the mummies and the staff. And I always remember the moment when Biraj started playing the guitar, and all of a sudden that whole tension just lifted and the kids started singing and dancing, and it just all felt right. I always remember Ganga, who came, and she was 10 and she's never attended any type of primary school, and she would be writing letters to me, and obviously it made no sense. And I bet 3 months after she'd be writing actual Nepali English. She was speaking, she could read. I mean, to see that was massively rewarding, I thought.
The school was literally around the back of the house, so they'd walk out the gate in the morning in a little, you know, line of ants and wander around. And I think that was probably almost the most rewarding part of it, wasn't it? To see those kids, you know, go from, come from the villages where they had no opportunity, and then in their school uniforms with their little bags and wandering off to school.
Plastic bags first, before we got them the real thing.
Yeah. So that was, you know, the early days were probably the most intense, but also the most rewarding, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember we got a phone call from our partner organisation. The police had been in contact.
Yes. So there was this boy, little Kiran, who'd been spending 15 days at the police station. What had happened was Mum had left him on a bus stop, so basically abandoned him right there. So he'd spent a few weeks with the police, and when we went to get him, he was this extremely cute bubblegum chewing boy, cheeky, beautiful natured kid. We could see it straight away, and it really felt that this was the start of the whole journey of Onni. We felt that he was officially our first boy. He was the one who cut the ribbon on the 26th of October 2008. Yeah. And ever since, you know, we've seen him grow. He's now a 14-year-old teenage kid who loves his rapping. He goes to school every day. He doesn't love it. He's much more into arts, but he's got good grades. He's done massively well. So.
And he'll go places. He's got a great personality, and he's got a good work ethic, good character, and he's a lot of fun. He's probably, you know, he's symbolic of, I guess, the success we've had of all the kids, that they've come from, you know, a situation where they haven't had much of a future, and now they're really going places.
One of our major challenges, I guess, was obviously the earthquake that struck 2015, and there were over 10,000 people dead and left homeless. And even though our project and our children, our people were not affected, we felt the need to help the country. And so because we'd been operating there for years, we had the connections, so we could go, we could deliver tents, medicine, we could go and actually help those people who lost everything. We were lucky in all that, but we could see the devastation around it and felt the need to help. It'll always stay with me, seeing that.
Other challenges that we've had, I guess just in terms of our lives, you know, when we set up, we didn't have kids.
Well, that's the thing. Little Tom was probably barely 3 months old when he had his first trip across, and then there was Ollie, and then there was Oscar, and we've always made sure that they also follow, because while we've got that opportunity to learn from our parents, now we want to sort of give that to them. Obviously our boys, they've grown with the Nepali family there, but we've also had tens of volunteers going through from Finland, from Australia, from all over the world, and they've all given their little bit to that big global family that we have. And anyone who ever goes there will leave a piece of their heart there. So they'll always come back. So they'll always stay with us.
Once we'd got the project, so we'd had that first initial period of bedding down the children's house, and everything started running smoothly. And we were spending a lot of time on the ground there, and you know, there was clearly a whole lot of other needs in society that could be addressed better, but the resources weren't there. And fortuitously, I got this, I can't remember, it was an email from an audiometrist in Townsville, David Hine, and David wanted to do something he wanted to do something to help people in Nepal. It was a really unique opportunity to provide a service that wasn't even available to the majority of people in Nepal. It prevented a lot of hearing loss, and also providing hearing aids that, I think overall it was over 1,000 hearing aids that were fitted, and so there's more than 1,000 people who can now hear because of that project.
One of the big successes with the hearing clinic was that because they were training the local staff, they can always take that knowledge forward. And since 2015 now, the clinic has been working as part of a big ENT hospital. So there's an international standardized ear, nose and throat hospital, and the clinic is actually working under them.
Yeah, and still helping people who couldn't afford the services otherwise. What tonight is about is a celebration of 10 years of the journey. It's been hard work and it's been emotional, there's been ups and downs, but the outcomes that have come about have been amazing and rewarding.
For all this work that we've done during the 10 years, and if we look back, we can be massively grateful for people who've been supporting us, whether it's been financially or otherwise. We've had this group of people that they've always stand beside us. Also, you know, the staff in Nepal, we would have never been able to do anything without them. Looking back 10 years, it's hard for me to put it in words because it's been a massive part of my life. And while it's been a big commitment, I've enjoyed every single day of it. And I'm really proud of what we've done, but I'm also really proud of the children that we've brought up. And we've been really privileged to be alongside there to see them grow and become what they are today.